Good evening and welcome. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Massey. I'm a 2016 graduate of Brother Rice and the current second baseman for the Kansas City Royals. Not much of a public speaker, nor am I necessarily one who enjoys the spotlight. With that being said, when Brother Rice calls, I make sure to answer. It's what family does. As far as tonight goes, I'm not here to recruit you or your son. That is a decision that each of you will hopefully make as a family when the time is right. My role tonight is to give you my story so that you and your sons can gain a better understanding of what being a Brother Rice Crusader is about. I grew up in Payless with two older siblings, my brother Andrew and my sister Katie. My mom and dad grew up in Oak Forest and have been married for 34 years. My dad went to and played baseball at the University of Illinois back in the mid-'80s, so naturally baseball is a part of my life from day one. Our household growing up was extremely competitive, and I was constantly the younger sibling who was just a bit too slow, too weak, or not quite as smart. I lost a lot, whether it was in chess against my dad, pickup basketball or football against my brother and his friends, or simply always being it at Ghosts in the Graveyard in the neighborhood because I was the youngest. I'm no stranger to being an underdog or having the odds stacked against me. It's what I've been trained to do since I've been a kid, whether I knew it or not. It's where my desire to outwork others came from. I spent the majority of my childhood playing sports: baseball, football, soccer, and basketball. However, baseball always stood out as my favorite. From the moment that my dad put the ball in my hand, I loved it more than anything. I started playing competitive travel baseball at the age of 9, 60-game seasons and year-round training. I know most of you are probably thinking that my parents are crazy, except that I was the driving force behind these decisions. I wanted to be a big leaguer, and strangely enough, I knew what it took. From 12 years old on, my dad and I would practice roughly 6 nights a week, and I would pick up the 7th day on my own to give him a break. My dad's schedule consisted of work 9 to 5, dinner in the car, batting practice and ground balls from 7 to 10. We would come home and turn on the TV to catch the 9th inning of the White Sox game, or watch that day's highlights on MLB Network. I was driven. When it was time to pick a high school, it was easy. I went where my brother went, St. Rita. During my freshman year, I continued my strict training regimen. I would wake up at 4 a.m., hop the fence at Sandburg High School, and run stadiums for an hour. I would go home and do 100 push-ups and 100 sit-ups. I'd eat breakfast and drive 45 minutes from Payless to St. Rita with my brother. After school, I would come home and do my homework, eat dinner, and it was off the train with my dad. I would lift weights from 6 to 7 and then hit, field, and throw until I either ran out of energy or broke my back from frustration of not being perfect. I was immature, but I was fierce. I did not hang out with friends. I did not go to parties, and I didn't attend school events. I had no time. I was busy chasing my dream. At the end of my freshman year, I transferred from St. Rita to Brother Rice for reasons I honestly still don't understand. I don't know if I didn't have enough friends, I didn't like the school, or if Brother Rice didn't have a second baseman for the next year and I wanted to elect free agency. Whatever it was enough for me to transfer. As I walked to my locker for the first time at Brother Rice, I ran into a student who said, "Hey, you're that baseball kid, aren't you?" I pridefully responded, "I am." It was my identity, and I loved it. A few days later, I verbally committed to play baseball at the University of Illinois where my dad had played 30 years earlier. In my eyes, we were on the journey together, and I wanted to make him proud. As for my sophomore season, it went great. I started at second base on the varsity and batted second in the lineup. I was well on my way. As a junior, I made the switch from second base to shortstop and was ready to lead Brother Rice to a state championship. Until I made 2 errors on opening day, and then 2 more on the next day, and another one on the following day. I was stunned and confused. I continued to work each day to improve, some days taking over 200 ground balls. It didn't help. I went on to make a self-proclaimed school record 27 errors as a junior. I had lost it. I had nightmares, fear, anxiety, and worst of all, an identity crisis. I was the baseball kid who couldn't feel it. I lost my confidence. At the end of the year, I made the Chicago Catholic League first team. With the help of the coaching staff and my teammates, I battled it the best I could the next year as a senior. At the end of that year, I once again won Chicago Catholic League first team. As a freshman in Illinois, I started every game at second base. In every game, I had doubt. Doubt in my physical ability, doubt in my ability to compete, and doubt in who I was as a person. I was afraid of the ball being hit to me. At the end of the year, I was awarded the following: third team All Big Ten, All Big Ten freshman team, D1 baseball freshman All-American, and Baseball America freshman All-American. During that year, I tore my labrum in my shoulder and was not allowed to play summer baseball. As an 18-year-old in an arm sling, I came home for the summer and felt defeated. Each day I woke up not being able to move my surgically repaired shoulder, only to eat a bowl of cereal, go for a walk by myself, and think about how I can improve as a player while I was out. When I returned the next year for my sophomore season, I was a mess. Finally healthy enough to play again, but with one major problem. I couldn't throw the ball. Something that had been second nature my entire life was gone. I had the yips. I cried every night. I felt my heart sunk into my chest. My dream, those nights with my dad, those 4 a.m. mornings at the stairs, for what? I was finished. Seeing how broken I was, I had some teammates take me with them to the Fellowship of Christian Athletes meeting one week in the fall. It felt forced, but I continued to go anyway. As I played my sophomore year, I wanted to quit. The game that was once my life, my dream, and my identity had become an absolute nightmare for me. My pregame prayer, which is something my dad taught me, had turned from, "Lord, please keep this field free from injury and help me compete to the best of my abilities," to, "Lord, just give me the courage to throw the ball to first base today if it's hit to me." At the end of my sophomore season, I won the following awards: second team All Big Ten, first team All Region, and the Rawlings Golden Glove Award for the best defensive second baseman in all of college baseball. That summer, I was selected to play in the Cape Cod League for the best college players in the country. I still wanted to quit. Somehow in the game, I could throw the ball, but in practice, in warm-ups, or in the backyard, I had absolutely no feel. I was scared of baseball. Filled with nervousness and anger at this point as to where the old me had gone, I drove out to the Cape with my mom. My mom stayed with me for the first 10 days. I led the league in hitting by 50 points during that span. I cried when she led. For once, I had forgotten about my troubles with the game while she was there with me. I went on to lead the league in hitting for the next month before ultimately cooling off and breaking my foot after being hit by a pitch. In the fall of 2019, my junior year, I was projected to be the 110th pick in the Major League Baseball draft by Baseball America. I still hated baseball. I was terrified of it and what it had done to me. I still showed up. At an early morning lift in November, half asleep from mental exhaustion and stress, I picked up a deadlift and blew out my back. I herniated 2 discs in my lower back and was later diagnosed with degenerative disc disease and a narrowing of my spinal canal. I had a spine surgeon tell me that I would feel pain for the rest of my playing career, and considering retirement would be smart. I was medically disqualified by 12 major league teams from being drafted in the top 5 rounds because my medical report was so bad. Perfect, I thought. An excuse for me to leave this damn game. Yet I showed up again. And again, and again. At the end of my junior year, I was awarded first team All Big Ten and was selected with the 109th overall pick by the Kansas City Royals. One pick ahead of where I was projected before hurting my back. My parents cried. My brother and sister cried. I was numb. What was happening? Why did they pick me? I can't move. I could barely bend over, and I basically slapped at the ball all year to get by. The next day I got on a plane and flew to play rookie ball in Burlington, North Carolina. I played in 42 of the team's 76 games. missing those 34 games due to back spasms and flare-ups. I worked all off-season to try my best and fix the problem. It didn't happen. I arrived at spring training the next year in worse shape than the previous season. The kid who used to hop fences and run stadiums at 4 a.m. could no longer bend over past his waist. I was days from quitting. Until that is, of course, the entire world stopped for a global pandemic. I didn't look at baseball for months. Spent the majority of my time playing cards with my family, talking, laughing, and enjoying being around them. When the world reopened and baseball returned, I was different. It was almost like a light bulb went off. My perspective changed. Countless hours of back exercises finally seemed to work. And I was excited to play baseball again. Played the 2021 season in High A for the Quad Cities River Bandits. We won the league championship, and along with that, I won the league batting title, and once again, the Rawlings Golden Glove Award, this time for the best defensive second baseman in all of minor league baseball. After a career year, I was fully expecting an invite to Major League spring training this past season. I waited and waited and waited. Nothing. Except this obstacle felt normal. Didn't make me hate baseball. Didn't make me have nightmares. Instead, it felt like my childhood. It motivated me to work. It felt like that underdog playing tackle football with my brother and his friends. I found myself again. I started the year in Double-A, was promoted to Triple-A in June. And on July 12th of this past year, I was called into my Triple-A manager's office. He said, "Max, how are those legs feeling?" I responded with the typical player's answer, "Sore, but good enough to keep going." He stared at me for a minute and then said, "Good, because they're going to need you Friday night in Toronto. You're going to the show, kid." I walked out of my coach's office and went to go sit in the left field bleachers at Warner Park in Omaha, Nebraska. The lights still shining on the field as the grounds crew worked. I gazed on the field and saw my dad on the bucket as I hit off the tee. I saw my brother taking ground balls at shortstop with me. I heard my mom cheering from the bleachers. I saw my girlfriend looking at me from the crowd with that same proud look she always has when she watches me play. I saw Sean McBride getting ready to hit me a ground ball. I saw Tim O'Connell standing at first base waiting for my throw. I felt the high fives and the pats on the back from my teammates throughout the years. I looked up to the twilight sky and saw God laughing at me for the years of stress, worry, and fear. I saw, heard, and felt it all. This story isn't about me. It's not about trying to impress you with my ability. To be honest with you, for most of my career, I've been hanging on by a thread. Yet somehow I'm here. Somehow I was awarded with Chicago Catholic League honors, Big Ten honors. I was drafted. And I made it to a league in which less than 1% of all kids who put on a uniform make it to. My hope tonight is that you recognize the disconnect. I hope you understand when I say that my name will not be stitched on a Major League uniform without Brother Rice. I hope that you come away from this and truly understand how weak I am as a man. And then I hope you look and understand that there was a bridge built to close the gap between my weakness and my dreams. The builders of that bridge were my family, my friends, my teammates, my coaches, Brother Rice, and God. Earlier I mentioned that I didn't understand my motive for continuing to play baseball. That is until now. It has become clear to me that it is because my dad worked for 8 hours a day and then came home and made my dream hits. It's because my brother played catch with me in the backyard and retaught me how to throw. It's because Sean McBride and Tim O'Connell didn't quit on me when I couldn't field the baseball. It's because when I was going to quit, I received countless messages from former teammates, classmates, and friends from Brother Rice telling me to keep pushing. During my sophomore year at Illinois, when I was really struggling, I went and got a tattoo on my left shoulder. The tattoo is Psalm 37, verse 24, and it reads, "Though he may stumble, he will not fall, for the Lord upholds him with his hands." I went a step further and added a warrior helmet to the cross. I call it my Crusader helmet, because in my words, the verse reads, though he may stumble, he will not fall, for his family, his community, and the Lord uphold him with their hands. To my future Crusaders, on the pursuit of your dream, you will fail, you will struggle, and you will come face to face with many obstacles that go well beyond your own abilities. In those moments, you will need your family, your faith, and a community like the one here at Brother Rice to help you overcome it. It's an honor for me to be here tonight to speak to you. I wish you all nothing but the best, and I will always be here to help you. It's what Crusaders do. It's what brothers do. Thank you.